Have you ever had a Sunday morning when you felt like sleeping in? Barely got the time to get to church before the service began. You fight off the temptation to just stay home in bed. When you hear the music playing, you thank the Lord you did. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
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 Preach that sermon, preacher, and bless us with your words. And lift this up with spirit's wisdom like we've never heard. There's just one presence and it's strong in us today. In this place of unity, to learn to share, to pray. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
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 There's a mighty power in that little word. Don't be shy, testify to the truth you've heard. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
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 When you feel that burden is more than you can bear, never underestimate the power of prayer. Faith can move a mountain or calm an angry sea. And there's no limits to this, we know. As long as we believe, there is just one power.
Amen.
And one presence too.
Amen.
It's inside of me.
Amen.
It's inside of you.
Amen.
Can I get an amen?
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 Amen.
Can I get an amen? Good morning. The speaker on there?
Oh, good morning, amen. Oh my goodness, that was wonderful. What power inside of me, inside of you. It's so wonderful to have you here today. We've had a great weekend here at Unity of the LUT because Beverly Pryor has been here. Teaching a wonderful class concerning your purpose. And we are having one more session this afternoon, 1 to 3:30. And if you want to join us, please let me know. And you can stay. It's just, you missed a lot of good stuff, but still. You can still get something. Actually, Beverly, last night I was up till way past midnight. I was reading an old book, learning about my purpose that I've been writing about. I told everybody before I'm still on track, but you add more. It really expand and grow. Yeah, so we get reminded. So, anyway, let's do music.
It's on to God.
That's your guy. Oh, you did? Boy, I didn't even hear it. There you go.
How about that guy?
I heard that one. I guess I was too busy out there.
What note is that? Is that the right note?
I don't know. It says on the inside of the bowl. Hey, you might know this one by the Beatles. All you need is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. There's nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say that you can learn to play the game. It's easy. There's nothing you can make that can't be made. Nothing you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn to be you in time. It's easy. Everybody, all you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. There's nothing you can know that isn't known. Nothing you can see that isn't shown. Nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. What do you need? All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love is all you need.
Thank you, Tam. Good morning, everyone. And again, welcome to Unity of Little Rock. I'm Travis Wiley, and I am the appointed prayer chaplain for today. For those of you who may be guests and may not be familiar with Unity Church, Unity is very big on prayer. In fact, we have a prayer box here. If anybody has prayer requests, they're welcome to put their prayer request on these little slips of paper. Your request is prayed over for 30 days here at Unity of Little Rock, and then we send it to Unity Village to where it's prayed over again at Silent Unity, which is a ongoing 24/7 prayer ministry that's been going for over 100 years now. I can't remember the 135 years continual prayer. So the prayers are sent there and they continue to be prayed over. This morning we want to go to our opening prayer and start bringing our minds and our thoughts in from the world and the outside events and things going on and focus them in on our reason for being here. As Jeannie said, we've had a great weekend with Beverly talking about our purpose. And I've also been thinking about another concept that we've been getting in our NVC group on Tuesday night. And let me just put a plug in here. For those of you who are not coming to the NVC group on Tuesday night, you are missing out. Jeannie McGee may have retired from teaching, but from teaching mathematics, but she's not retired from teaching, and she has been bringing some amazing material to our classes on Tuesday night. Yes, absolutely. And one of the things we've been looking at in that group is the concept of equanimity. That that being centered, that centeredness of soul where we are completely free of any like or dislike. There is no trigger. Nothing triggers us for bad. Nothing triggers us for good. We are just perfectly at peace with what is. And as I think about that space of equanimity along with our purpose, it's only from that place of equanimity that we can find our true purpose in life. So I invite you to take a big breath in, and if you like, close your eyes and big breath in and blow it out. And as you do that again, I want you to let your mind center on the thought. Let your attention go to the thought. I am the substance and power of pure love. I am the substance and power of pure love, bringing into manifestation my world according to divine law. My soul and the great world are one. My soul and the great world are one. I feel my destiny. My destiny finds me. I feel my star. My star finds me. I feel my goals in life. My goals in life are finding me. And with this deepened realization, we see our divine purpose, and we know that we are here to be of service to all that is good, all that is true, and all that is beautiful in this life. And so it is. And now we want to light the Christ candle, and it is this that symbolizes each of us letting our light shine out into the world. And by each of us letting our light shine, we add to the light of the world and of the cosmos and of the universe. And from that space, we want to say our statement of being. So if you will, repeat with me or say with me, I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And so it is.
Just before you say something you can't take away, take a breath and let it out, and try to think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love, for in the end it's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong, doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we die for love. But in the end it's all we know that's real. Oh, whether right or wrong, doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? As you let your heart decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Welcome, Beverly.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. I'm excited to talk to you. We have been having a great time in the class. A number of you have been there, and you're talking about discerning your purpose class, but we're exploring a lot more than just writing a vision statement. That's the ultimate goal of the class. But inner reflection and even bringing in, we were talking about this topic, equanimity, that they've been discussing in NVC. For those of you, you said NVC, and I was calling out nonviolent communications, so that people who don't know that acronym know that it is it's a brilliant book by Marshall Rosenberg, and it is great work. So I would definitely encourage you. Jeannie has actually co-facilitated with me during a nonviolent communications, well, actually the SEE, the Spiritual Education Enrichment class for Unity of Worldwide, is called Conversation Skills, which doesn't really give you a good picture of what it's all about, but you use nonviolent communications and some other formats. But Marshall Rosenberg's work is just, it's very spirit-driven, very spirit-led, and it's not just communication. It's about understanding yourself, your needs and your feelings, and communicating that. It gives you a whole language. So definitely I endorse Travis's endorsement and encourage you to go. My topic today, winds of change. I've been thinking about this for some time because I'm a sailor. Anybody sailors in here? A few, not too many, but a little bit. So, but you're aware of sailing, right? You're aware of things related to sailing. So I'm going to use that to sort of give a format for my discussion today. The winds of change are always blowing, right? Always. How many love change? Yeah, some of you actually. Yeah. How many fear it? You don't have to raise your hands. Because I know all of you do, even if you love it, you fear it too, right? Because it's not mutually exclusive. Change is going to happen. Change is, we evolve as human beings. Our surroundings change, our lives change, our interactions change. There's going to be change. So it's better to embrace it, and especially from that position of equanimity, right? That non-attachment. When you can be in that centered place of non-attachment, whatever changes around you, you're still who you are. And if you know your purpose, as we've been discussing the last few days, you're still clear about that. It might shift a little bit, but you're still clear as to who you are and why you're here and what you're on. How are you on purpose, right? When I was a kid, I used to always say, I did it on accident, and my family would laugh because instead of on purpose, I was on accident, not by accident. I didn't really understand why that was wrong. If you say on purpose, why aren't you on accident? But anyway, I did a lot of things that way, to be honest with you, or I claim to, if people didn't like what it was I was doing, which would happen quite often. But sailing is really, I'm always trying to explain to her the beauty of the experience of sailing. Sailing is difficult and easy at the same time. You know, it's one of those things that you have to understand what you're doing. But once you do, the beauty with which you interact with Mother Nature in order to accomplish your goals, it's very Taoist. It's very Zen. It's just letting go. But you have to learn, right? The reason I got into sailing was a number of years back, somebody mentioned a trip to sail the Greek Isles. And I'm like, wow, that sounds like a bucket list. I don't have an official bucket list. Do you have a bucket list? Yeah? I don't. Yeah? What? A to-do list. So my bucket list evolves, right? You know, I mean, I'm always hearing something new I've never thought of before. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I don't put it on my bucket list. The bucket list just gets bigger. You know, it's like that goes in the possibility pile, right? It's possible that I'll do that if I have the opportunity to do it. So what I did in preparation for the sailing trip was I took a sailing course, and I got my ASA 101 license, which means I can be a captain. I am not going to be a captain. That is a lot of responsibility. I mean, it's more complicated than driving a car, right? I mean, the captain really has to know how to integrate all this information and direct the crew. I'm just happy being a knowledgeable crew member, right? I want to understand what I need to do, but I'm not going to be the one that's responsible for everyone else doing what they need to do. It's really important to understand and to be ready, right? Participate and to do your part when you're on a sailboat. Well, that's how it is in life as well. So, let's see. Didn't I push that? Yeah. So there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. You've heard this before. It's been in songs. You've probably sung that in a song before. This is a Bible verse that really speaks to me because it helps us to put things in perspective regarding change, right? The Bible is full of the term, and it came to pass, right? It came to pass because it's meant to. Nothing is meant to stay the same. We don't stay the same. We change, sometimes for the better, sometimes not. It just depends on what we're putting our focus on, right? But everything is meant to change. We're meant to accept change from that centered place, from that place of non-attachment where we can say, oh, okay. So, you hear that phrase, so. That works when change comes about, right? There's a parable, I think it is, I'm not sure what ancient tradition it comes from, but maybe Tibetan Buddhism. But there's a parable about a man who has one son, and all of his neighbors come over and they say, oh, it's so terrible that you only have the one son, you know, you don't have enough help, now it's time to harvest the fields, and blah, 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 and they have the one horse, and that's just so hard on you, and he just goes, maybe. And then a storm happens, and the horse breaks out of the corral and runs away. And the neighbors again come over. Oh, it's really terrible that you have this horse that's gone and only that one son, and things are just getting worse for you all the time. And the man's just like, maybe. Well, then the horse comes back and he brings like 4 or 5 other horses with it. And they're all celebrating, oh my gosh, what prosperity, what luck for you. You have all these horses now. You're the most prosperous man in the valley. And what does he say? Maybe. So the son's out there trying to tame the horses, the new wild ones that came in, and he broke his leg. He got thrown off. The neighbors come over. Oh, What are you going to do? Now you have the horses, but you don't have a son to help you. He's got a broken leg. And the guy goes, maybe, yeah. He's just in that centered place, right? And then, of course, the army's coming through, constricting soldiers and taking them into war. And his son can't go because he has a broken leg. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky your son has a broken leg. So you get the story. I mean, it goes on from there, right? But that's really kind of the end of it anyway. But I didn't plan to tell you that story, but when you brought this up, that centered place of just noticing what's going on in your life is probably one of the most valuable skills you'll ever develop. Because regardless, you're not going ebb and flow and this left and right, depending on what somebody else has said or done or hasn't said or hasn't done. You can remain in your center regardless of the change that's happening around you. Eye of the storm? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Eye of the Storm is another very, very good book and a course that Unity offers. If you're not familiar with the personal development program, spiritual education and enrichment, Jeannie, Travis, Sandy, plenty of people can help you understand what it's a course that you can take online, some classes. You can take some classes that are offered here. That's what we've been doing for those who choose to take it for credit. But you don't have to take the classes for credit. You can just audit the classes. But everything we do in Unity is about consciousness. If the topic is health, it's about consciousness. If the topic is prosperity, it's about consciousness. Whatever the topic is, it's all about consciousness. And it all comes back to the same thing. We are responsible for our own level of consciousness and the evolution of our own consciousness. But we have to, these classes are all to help us prepare. Just like I prepared to go sailing by taking a course, right? These are courses that help prepare you to be in life. I've been in a corporate career most of my life, and I've been very fortunate to have some really great classes in the corporate environment that helped prepare me. Negotiation skills and different types of courses for personal development that are complementary to the Unity personal development courses. We have a more spiritual focus than, of course, they did in corporate world, but you still come away with the skills that help you improve your life. And nonviolent communications, Eye of the Storm, there's so many of them, but they all come back to evolving, to be a better version of yourself, whatever that is. We've been talking about purpose, but sometimes we can't even get to our purpose until we uncover whatever those limiting thoughts are. So yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. That's a Rumi quote. If you're familiar with Rumi, yes, okay. So he's a mystic from centuries ago, has written beautiful, beautiful poetry, and he was a Sufi. So, very much in what we in the Christian tradition would call the Gnostics, right? More of the mysticism of his traditions. But we're so busy often, we think we can change the world, change the circumstances around us. But what happens is when we change, the world around us changes. Because it's perception. We watched a video yesterday about perception. And it showed, how people were seeing something a certain way, but in fact, it wasn't that way at all. And it was just, I can send you the link if you're interested. I'll send it to Jeannie and she can share it with you. It's a video online. But it's really, perception is reality, right? Whatever you believe is true for you, right? So it's really important that we're very conscientious and very aware of what we believe. Your belief system is just the culmination of what you repeatedly think and say and do. It's all reflected in those activities. Those things show exactly what you believe is true. If you believe there's more and there's better and there's possibility, then you'll act in that way from that standpoint of unlimited possibilities. And if you believe that life is limited, then you won't be able to see what's right in front of you. It's all perspective. So this is us standing on the docks. That's me over with my arms crossed. I might have been cold. I'm not disinterested. I'm very interested in the boat. But this is part of what you do, right? You do your safety checks, and before you even get on the boat, you've got to learn how to get on the boat safely. 3 points of contact all the time. It's really important to know what you're doing in whatever your situation is, because wind does change. And when you're on a boat, what's going to happen? Just like Jonah, I talked about last time I was here. He got thrown over for a reason, for a good reason. But you can get thrown off the boat very easily. You can get a boom in the head. You have to have some awareness, right? You have to be paying attention, just like in life. You have to be paying attention to what's going on. But I love this quote from Mark Twain. The top part of it, you've seen a lot, but the end of it, this is actually the second part of that quote. So you've heard this before. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the things you did do. What you don't often hear quoted is, so throw off the bow lines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the wind in your sails, explore, dream, and discover. Throw caution to the wind. The wind is going to catch that caution and blow it away. You don't have to sit all bound up and limited. Allow yourself to see the possibilities, dream and explore. It's what we've been doing in our class when we're talking about purpose. We're dreaming. We did an exercise called Best Possible Self. It's a simple exercise. I found it on psychologytoday.com or something like that. But again, Jeannie can give you a copy of it. But it's really my best possible self. And you describe your best possible self in present tense. My best possible self does this, does that, eats this, eats that, communicates this way. It's to help you to kind of get into that frame of mind. Some people are good at goal setting. And then sometimes we don't necessarily, we get bored with that, or we don't really embrace it. But best possible self it's an activity of the imagination, right? Sail away, explore, dream, and discover, right? Goethe said, anything you can do or dream you can, begin it. Because boldness has beauty, power, magic, and genius in it. I didn't have that on a slide, so I might have messed it up a little bit for those of you who know it, but it's pretty close to that. But look it up. It's a really good quote. So here we are that's me with the white cap on. That's on No Effort was the name of that little boat, and it took a lot of effort. We were racing that particular day, and we were like throwing out, this sail, and then we're moving, and it was just like constant. Sometimes the smaller boats are a lot more effort because you have fewer people to take on all the responsibilities. But you constantly got to be moving and changing, right? You've got to be adjusting. It's the same way in life. You set a goal. It's not always like, okay, my purpose, my goal, my ideal is here. So bloop, 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 there I am. Does that work out for you like that? Never has for me. Exactly. Go this way, take a turn. In sailing, that's called tacking, right? You purposefully, because you're using the lift of the sail, the lift of the wind against the sails like an airplane does. You think it's blowing. If you're not familiar, the wind is not blowing the sails. It's actually lifting against the sails like it does an airplane wing. That's also a boat that I'm racing on. We're racing those giant boats. In this particular case, see all the people that are on, this is Naughty Winch, N-A-U-T-I, naughty, as in nautical. Naughty Winch, and you know my function on that boat was basically ballast. Do you know what that means? Weight. So I sat on the high side to keep it from tipping when we were going pretty fast. But that's about all I did, and I loved it. It was still so much fun because we're in the outdoor, we're interacting with Mother Nature, we're responding, we're dealing with the changing wind. Actually, one day we had a spinnaker, which I'll show you a picture in a minute, but you throw it up and just kind of capture that last burst when you're trying to get just that much more ahead. But it got hung up in the shrouds, and you know, I'm diving across this way, grabbing that. It's just like gets crazy. But most of the time, I was just ballast, honestly. But again, sometimes that's what our role is. We're just sitting there holding, stated, right there, you know? We're just equanimity. We're just right there staying solid state. There's nothing wrong with that, even though there's activity going on all around. Sometimes that center point is the most powerful point. It's where you get that still small voice. It's where you get that emphasis on what really is important to you. Here I am in my favorite position. That's me under the hood at the helm. I like to be at the helm. I don't want to be the captain of the boat, but I want to take my turn at the helm because it's fun. You're adjusting. You know, you're making those little tweaks and turns, and you're correcting for the changing of the wind. That's how life is. We're being responsive to the changes rather than trying to control them. What happens when you try to control the changes in your life? Not good. We get pain. Yeah, we physically get pain. Either you're holding, or it becomes a resentment, which creates disease. Emotional, mental, physical resistance to change is harmful. There's no way about it. You can't resist and live and let go. You know, in Unity we talk about specific prayer, right? Having a purpose, having a clear vision, but also let go and let God, right? Have that vision, but you know what? You don't know all of the factors of everything going on in the world, right? You don't know what's making the winds change in your life. You don't know all of the circumstances. So you get a vision, and then you have to let it go. You have to be responsive to the things that are coming forth in your life so that you can adjust to the change. I just threw this in there because this was where we were when that picture was taken. The reason that was that little purple line is our sailing. We sailed out of, in this particular case, Anacortes, Washington, up through the Southern Gulf, Canadian Gulf, and up to Canada and back again. So it was the fall and it was warm, but it was cold on the water. So that's why we were bundled up. But it was so much fun to sail. And sometimes in this particular case, it didn't happen in the Greek Isles this way, but sometimes we would actually have to motor. So we had to have a backup plan, right? If you don't have the wind and you don't have that momentum going, then you turn on the motor. It's not as much fun, quite honestly. I never want to be at the helm when we're motoring. As a matter of fact, one day we motored so much I just went below and took a nap. Like, forget about it. I'm losing my joy. Now, I just wasn't so much fun. That happens in life, right? Sometimes we have to get on the backup plan for a little while. It may not be what we thought we were going to do. We get on the backup plan just long enough to get back to where we have some momentum, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You're not failing. Failing is actually, it's a good thing. You learn. when you fail. The pessimist complains about the wind, the optimist expects it to change, and the realist adjusts the sails, right? Because you can make changes to adjust so you have that lift the way you want it, right? You don't want to turn into the wind. That's called going into the irons. That'll stop you for a minute. And it's hard to sail with the wind coming totally from behind you. You have to go wing on wing, which is kind of a crazy looking thing. But you have to know what you're dealing with, know the wind, and when it changes, what are you going to do? And that's the same thing with having a purpose in life. Yes, this is my purpose, but life changes. Does that change my purpose? Maybe a little bit. Maybe the relativity of the purpose, but maybe not that absolute desire of the purpose, right? Maybe the circumstances change, but I don't change. And my desire to contribute in whatever way I have originally felt driven or inspired to contribute doesn't have to change. So Sandy was talking about this. You tack. You change the direction of the boat from you want to go from point A to B, but actually you look like this. You're going zzz, and then zzz, and zzz, because you're trying to take advantage of the wind. That's what happens sometimes when we have goals in life, right? We think we're going A to B, but we really feel like we're drifting over here, but we're making a little bit of progress, actually. And then we're drifting a little bit more this way. So we may intentionally be tacking, and sometimes we're just not. Sometimes life is good. This is not actually a boat I was on. I just love the image of it. But life is good when you're on full sail, right? When you're on purpose, when you know what you're doing, things are coming together. Last time I was here, I showed that quote from Joseph Campbell about bliss, that when you're following your bliss, doors open up for you that wouldn't open up for anyone else. Travis is having some experiences like that, right? When you're clear and you allow for it, the universe is always saying yes to you. The question is, what are you asking for? Because remember, every thought and every word is a prayer. So even when you're complaining, you're praying. Sorry, I have to tell you that, but it's true. Even when you're complaining, you're praying. And even if you pray, I want this, I want this, I want this, but these are my circumstances, you're kind of canceling out your prayer because the universe is saying yes to both sides of that. So be aware, take dominion. The Bible tells us man has dominion over the earth. That means we have dominion because we can think, we can choose, we can change our mind. You know, your pets, they're beautiful, but they don't really get to change their mind. They have one focus. They're going to eat and play, and you know, that's just that's single focus, whatever that's on their mind. But they don't really change what they think about themselves. They don't change their circumstances. We do that. Is that moving? Oh. Okay. So this is a spinnaker. So you grab that wind, that extra bit of wind. So you have your normal sails, and then you throw up for that little bit of time. When you have that extra, you want that little extra momentum. So we do that in life, right? Sometimes we might hire a coach. We might get a friend to sit with us and help us. We might put together a business plan. We want to get that little extra momentum. We get a physical trainer, a personal trainer to help us to work out. Or we start a walking group. Whatever it is, get that extra momentum behind whatever it is that you want to accomplish. It helps you work with the winds of change rather than just sitting around going, well, you know, I'm over 55. You know, the statistics are you gain X amount every decade, blah, 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 blah. So we can just say that's the way it is, or we can take and get some momentum. It takes more momentum, right? Sometimes in certain circumstances, right? Sometimes we have to apply more momentum than we did when we were younger. And motivation, we have to find the momentum. We have to even figure out what would that even look like. But it takes a lot of support. See how many people, like that guy with the hat sitting on the front, he looks like he's doing nothing. He's actually the guy who's looking for all the other boats. So he's pointing out this way and that way. Captain knows not to collide. It looks like he's doing nothing, but that's a really important job because you're paying attention. You're really looking at what's going on around you. He can't change what's going on. That boat's still on course. But if he's not doing that, the captain can't see everything. See, the captain's way down back. The captain can't see. So you need a community. You need the support of others to be a part of this so that you can keep going in the direction of your dreams, so that you can take advantage of the changing winds and not just get stalled out. Sometimes the wind stops and you're just sitting there. But you're not doing nothing. I brought this. This is a little sample of a little piece of line, it's called, not rope, when you're on a boat. You practice your knots. When you're sitting and you're doing nothing, you're not doing nothing because you need to know when it is picking up and you're told to go tie, stop, knot real quick or form a this, that, and the other kind of knot, figure eight, or a bowline, which is always the toughest one. You need to know how to do that. So you do make your preparation when it's quiet and still. You think you're doing nothing. Sometimes you really think you're doing nothing. I was laid off from my job. I've shared you guys this with you guys before last year, and it seemed like I was doing nothing. My mother kept saying, "Well, are you interviewing? Do you have a job yet?" And I've never just kind of gone, before. I've never just allowed myself the freedom to just see what's going to happen. And it's not like I was doing nothing, right? I was exploring different things. Started working on a documentary. I took some classes on this and that. But I wasn't like full on back to, I am getting my resume out there, I'm going to network and get back into global telecommunications. It didn't feel like the time to do that. So I was just sitting, not doing nothing, but I didn't have the momentum for going back into that work. So I allowed myself time to breathe and to be open and receptive. And it was the most beautiful year that I've spent because I really became so much more relaxed and connected with myself. And it's allowed my relationships with others to improve because I'm more connected with myself. I can be more authentic. Therefore, people can feel me. They can feel the love I have for them. And it's easier to love someone when you know who they are. Don't you think? It's easier to receive love when you feel that you are loved. So at the first of the year, for me, it was embrace the pause, right? I was lucky enough to be in a mentoring program with Mary Morrissey. And I was saying to her right after that, like, oh my gosh, I don't have any momentum to do this. She's like, yeah, are you worried? No. Are you fearful? No. Are you having financial concerns? No. And she kind of just smiled and went, because she knew. She knew I was in a change, right? I didn't know exactly what was happening, but I embraced the pause, embraced that quiet, still time. Yeah, you feel like maybe you're drifting, and maybe other people look at you from the outside and go, oh, what are you doing? You're not doing anything, But I was moving at the pace of guidance. And then at the first of the year, we had the white stone ceremony. So I brought my little stones, but I don't have to get each one out. But when I did the white stone, you do the white stone here? So this is what came up for me, clarity. I was like, okay, clarity. I want clarity, sure. What is it? What's next? What am I going to do? And then we had a women's retreat. So if you guys ever find out when the Dallas ladies, Divine Sisters, have their women's retreat, sorry guys, but it is for women only. It's so powerful. What you do is you bring a totem, something that represents your intention for the retreat, and you put it on an altar the first night, and then you participate in the retreat. And at the end, you have your intention, and you really, it's amazing the momentum that comes behind that. Again, bringing that change about. So I took to the women's retreat that clarity stone, plus one that has a Khalil Gibran quote that says, work is love made visible. And then that pink stone, which represented love to me. And my declaration to the ladies and their support for me was to discover for myself, get clarity over what is mine to do, what's mine to do in the world to express the love that I am. And after the retreat, not long after that, a friend in an unrelated email just says, hey, by the way, so-and-so church is looking for a spiritual leader. And I'm like, I had this, like, that hadn't occurred to me at all. And before you know it, I've got a package in, and I'm talking to Unity Worldwide, and I have found an opportunity, and we're going to move forward with that. I can't tell you about it yet, but it will also put me in a position where I won't be able to come back here as frequently. And I want to tell you how much it's meant to me to be able to come and spend time with you. I feel like you're my second home church, along with Unity of Dallas. But, and you'll always have a place in my heart. And I've loved doing the classes. We did the meditation class and now discerning your purpose. But it is the right thing for me. And I have to tell you that stillness, that quiet, just allowed for that to come forth and to just present itself in just the right way, where it's like, oh, I wouldn't have thought that up in my own mind on my own. But that's what my heart desire was. And what better way to express love in the world than to be in relationship with a church community that way. So thank you all for your time and your attention, and for the time that we spent together. Namaste. So let's just have a quick time of meditation. If you want to just put your feet on the floor. Travis did such a beautiful job with his prayer earlier. I know you're already primed for a quick meditation. So let's just take in a deep breath and release. And just paying attention to the breath as it moves in and out at your own rhythm. Following that breath as it moves deep within, deeper and deeper to the stillness, to that secret place of the Most High. Allowing yourself to be in that place of pause, listening for your still small voice, calling, guiding, leading you from the very center, always knowing the highest and best for all concerned. Let's just spend a moment now in silence from that centered place. limitless and boundless in possibility and in purpose. You say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen.
I was past ill at ease, and I fell to my knees, and I brought my intention to God's intervention. There's nothing to lose, 'cause if God wasn't real, I was praying to nothing, and nothing would hear but the air. But what if God's the air? What if God's the air? No flash from the sky, no voice from above, no tap on the shoulder, no push or no shove. Time goes by and by, and one day a thought from the blue, from the yonder, it got my attention. It set me to ponder strange words. These words, ours is not the reason why, ours is but to do and die. Ours is not the reason why, ours is but to do and die. Oh no, what if God's not there? Oh my, what if God's not there? In a bookstore that same night, following some hidden light, a random book, a flip of thumb, 5 words that left me stricken dumb. Oh wow, ours is the reason why. Oh my, ours is the reason why. What if God's the air? Oh, what if God is there? Oh my, what if God does care? What if God's the air? What if God's the air? Thank you.
We're so grateful for our community, and so this is the time when we get to give back. So come on down, and we'll blessings together. Divine God, as you bless and multiply all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
I think this song goes pretty well with everything talk.
We have quite a few announcements today. First of all, Beverly will be continuing her seed class. Is it ready for service? Is it 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock, that's what I thought. So it's at 1 o'clock today in the community room that will be continuing today. And on Wednesday, the songwriters group will be meeting. I'm looking around for Bill to remind him that this is the second Wednesday. So I'm hoping we'll stay on track. That's good. Yes, it is. We're a little out of order, but Friday is also Sounds of Unity will be happening here. And we have our own order here in the house. With Jamie Lou Conley of Jamie Lou and the Hullabaloo, but minus the Hullabaloo. Yeah. The doors open at 6:30, the music starts at 7. And because of that, could I get some help after service? I would like to move our swim project, which is for our house, that a lot of people have been donating. I just want to move it out of the stage, because I know you guys need the whole thing. So if I could just get some help with moving that after service, I'd appreciate that. And speaking of the Project Swim, this is through our house. This is to help the kids that are associated with them have a wonderful summer. They're looking for swimming suits, they're looking for goggles, they're looking for towels, all sorts of swim paraphernalia. I'm going to be collecting through, almost at January, my goodness, June 24th, which is 2 weeks from today, and then I will be delivering them on Monday the 25th, because we might want to make sure that the kids get that in enough time to play. So thank you to everybody. Every time I come in here, there's more and more added. I will be also collecting used items that I have in the back that's for gently used. And Tina, I know you have your hand up. Are you ready to come in?
No, I thought you did
24th.
24.
That's okay. There is a flyer in everyone's bulletin also about it. So hopefully I didn't misspeak that it is the 24th. In fact, Tina, you want to come up and talk to us about what you've been doing for our outreach organization? Hello. We happen to be in an area where there are a lot of poor people. Destitute people and homeless people. So, because we have had some homeless people come here and ask for some help, I have been trying to find information on shelters and food banks and health care, just anything and everything that is available to people in need. There is one place that I'm hoping to find more information about on Wednesday. I'm doing the Arkansas Homeless Coalition. My first meeting will be Wednesday. It's called the Good Grid, and I believe that it is a place where it's a one-stop shop. We can get on the phone with somebody who's asked for some help and get them on the phone with Good Grid, and then we can start getting them to the various places that they can get the services that they need. In the meantime, I have also been checking on various places. Goodwill. I'm coming up with a list of places that provide services. I have quite a few, and it's still not done. I thought it was done, and then I went to Goodwill site, and they have a wealth of information, so I still have more than I need to add. What I need are volunteers who can call these places during the week, during the day, just to make certain that they are still in operation. I do have a little blurb on each one of them that states the services that they say they offer. If you could check to make certain that they are still offering those services, and if they have any other services, please add those to the list. So if anybody would be willing to volunteer to call some of these places, I would greatly appreciate it, because I've run into several places that were no longer operational. And I don't want to send these people out with addresses to places to go only to find out that they're not operating anymore, because there's nothing that'll crush your spirit quicker if you're in need and the two places you go to don't even exist anymore. So we don't want to do that. So if you can see me, I'll be in the back of the sanctuary at the services. If you're willing to help out, I greatly appreciate it. We've probably got 30 to 50 places that need to be called and checked. So the more, the better. So thank you all very much.
Thank you for all that hard work.
Next Saturday is our WOW meeting, and my friend Amy Van Hooser will be here. She's going to start her own business, and it's called Bestowing Henna. She makes her own henna, and everybody will walk away with a henna tattoo from Amy on that day. And that's a compliment from me. That's my way of thanking all the ladies that have been there to support. And Dave, yes, you can come. I know Dave. We always ask about that. But she's a wonderful gal, and I'd love for everybody to come to support her. Russ had called me and left me a message. Wanted to make sure that you guys heard this information. Unity Path is the name of the class that's for new members or anyone interested in learning more about Unity. And it's going to begin 2 weeks from today on Sunday, June 24th at 9 a.m. in the community room, and will last for 4 weeks. And see anybody who speaks to this, because it's a little bit more. And we also will be hosting a spirit group, which will begin on Wednesday the 27th for 6 weeks, and it's based on Linda Marcella Whitsett's book, How to Pray Without Talking to God. which will lead up to a C class presented by Paul Hasselbeck on Saturday, August 4th, and then Paul will be our spiritual speaker on the 5th of August. And now I know, Pam, you wanted to talk about some special music events that are coming up in July later. So welcome to
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. So in July, Armand and Angelina are coming back. They were here last year. How many people saw them last year? I think a couple. I love them. They're very good. We're coming up and seeing them. And then I've got Greg Tamlin is coming Sunday, July 22nd. Greg was the Great Smell Winner this year at the Posse Fest. He is an awesome person. I got a chance to meet him and talk to him a little bit while I was at the festival. And I love him in the first 10 seconds I had a conversation with him. He is more of a humorist, less of a musician, but he is worth it. Hand out a bolt, and we'll be promoting this more and more as we get closer. I'm just wanting to start it now, so I need to figure out how to get on the website or get somebody on the website so we can do the ticket sales. I haven't done that yet, but I think what we're going to do is $12 in advance and $15 at the door. So there's a little blurb in the bulletin today about him, and more information will be coming.
Just one more thing, based on, especially with Beverly, what you said about failing and how you have to have your team to help you. One of the things I do here is I'm the volunteer coordinator, so I put together a flyer which is out there on the next board that says you are wanted. Here's the different areas that we here at the Unity of Little Rock community could really use your help. And there will be a board member available in the community room every Sunday for the next 10 weeks. I know because I sat in on the board meeting last week, and for the next 10 weeks, they have it all planned out. So for more information on the positions and what they entail, please meet with me. I'll be there, and as Sandra thought, you will be the board member that will be there to address the different things. Okay. Sandra the dog. All right, I think that's it. I think it's time for forum.
a cigarette that bears a lipstick's traces, an airline ticket to romantic places, and still my heart has wings. These foolish things remind me of you. A tinkling piano